Hello everyone, Alistair Gold here. Yes, the Alessandro Bastoni dream appears to be over. It was great fun while it lasted, but now it appears to have headed off into the sunset. It's as we said it was likely to be, though, let's be honest. He is Inter through and through, wants to stay at Inter. We've made no bones about that. You know, we've certainly spoken about that in recent videos, and it was very much going to be about whether Inter needed to sell him. It appears now they do not, because it looks like others are probably heading out the door rather than him. So, I mean, let's start. What I'm going to do, just for this video, just so you know, I'm going to do a little chat about some kind of housekeeping, as I like to call it. Talk about Bastoni, talk about other centre-back targets, talk about Fraser Forster signed today, of course. Little touch on the new kit, I guess. We'll talk about that as well, and some other little bits and pieces. And I'm going to do kind of almost like a half Q&A, because I've got so many fantastic questions in the comments of the last video that I'm going to try and do half in this one, and then I'm going to do maybe a full proper Q&A for the next video, because there were so many. There were so many really good ones, and ones that made me laugh that I want to answer as well. So yeah, so it's a bit of a half and half video, this one. I should just stress, it is a day off. And as in for me, and I know there's this thing that good things always happen when I'm off. And yes, Fraser Forster has signed. We're going to talk about that. But, you know, there are a few days off I have where other things that aren't so great for Spurs happen as well. So yeah, you know, everyone wishing for me to be off and have holidays doesn't always work like that. And as we see today with Alessandro Bastoni. So yeah, like I say with Bastoni, it was going to hinge on whether the Inter needed to sign him. That was what it was going to be. And his agent, Tullio Tinti, the fantastically named Tullio Tinti, he obviously, we heard earlier in the week from him saying that, you know, pretty much similar to that. If Inter need to let him go, he'll be professional and you know, he'll respect that. But then obviously he's gone to Inter today, had a big meeting. I think he's also the agent of Inzaghi, the Inter boss as well. And I think they're sorting out a contract for him. A new contract for him. So I think it was probably a twofold meeting, at least twofold. And obviously spoke about Bastoni, and then he came out and the local press who were waiting there for him grabbed him. And there's two quotes that seem to be floating about that have been attributed to him. First one, if I can reassure Inter fans, absolutely. Bastoni will definitely remain at Inter. And then the other one that's doing the rounds is Bastoni will stay at Inter for sure. He has a contract and he's happy with Inter. There's no problem. And just in case you were one thinking, oh, it's not a real quote, maybe, oh, we can hang our hopes on that. A little bit later on Instagram, I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce this right. Solo è disclusivamente Inter, which is an Instagram account obviously doing Inter Milan news, put up, I think it was the latter quote they put online. And underneath, Bastoni himself commented, just with two hearts, the Inter colours. It's one of these things. There's two sides to look at this. One side is from Bastoni's point of view, and hey, in football, yeah, of course, Spurs haven't got their man. But again, on the flip side, he's an Inter boy that wants to stay at Inter, you know. I think someone said he got a tattoo after the Scudetto, a big Inter tattoo down his arm or something like that. You know, if this was, let's say, Harry Kane came out with a big comment saying I'm not going anywhere kind of thing, and the club don't have to sell me, all of that, you know, we'd all go mad for how fantastic that was. So there's that side of it, and I get it. From Tottenham's point of view, yep, he was one of their main centre-back kind of on their wish list up there at the top, one of the top two. Paratici and Conte both wanted him. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the player doesn't want to go and the club don't want to sell. You've done everything you can. It's one of those where, of course, some people are just going to lambast it. Of course, they are going to say, oh, you got turned down and all that. But what are you going to do? You know, sorry to use a kind of a bad stereotype Italian-American kind of voice, but it's true. What are you going to do? I think the key about it is, and that's really important, I think, is that Tottenham, this has happened early. Transfer window doesn't even open for another 2 days. June the 10th it opens. So I think you'd rather know now that a certain player on your wish list is not available, and then you come back to it at another time Rather than with Tottenham, sometimes they do these things where they'll find this sort of stuff out right at the end of the window. Then you're in this ridiculous situation where you've kind of got to do a panic buy alternative. And they don't have to do this. They can properly now work down their list. And they can, look at the other players that I'm going to talk about in a moment. And it's not the pressured panic situation that it could have been. So, yeah, of course, it's not the greatest news in the world. He's a very good player. And, they clearly think he's going to be absolutely top player. It's not to say that maybe they don't revisit this in a year's time or whatever, because I think he's only got 2 years left on his deal. I think his agent was asking about the contract, and he said if they want to talk about that, they can come to me, kind of thing, as if to suggest that wasn't currently something being spoken about. So who knows? In a year's time, situation may be different. So I don't know what's happened there that's changed. I would say the only thing that I think is a stunning coincidence is that on the same day, there's been real ramped up rumours of PSG going in strong for Milan Skriniar. If you remember Milan Skriniar, he was a player that Mourinho wanted a few years back at Tottenham. So I wonder now whether PSG going in for him, whether that, Inter have essentially said, well, we're going to sell one defender. It won't be both. So, yeah. And there's De Vrij as well, isn't there? There's kind of talk about him potentially going as well. So, yeah. Essentially, it looks like they've found their way of getting outgoings that don't have to be Bastoни. And I think the Inter fans would have gone mad, to be honest, if they'd sold him as well. So they would have been under pressure in that respect. But we move on. We move on. Like I say, early enough that, it's not the biggest issue in the world. It's just disappointing. Maybe he saw Ben Davies playing for Wales against Ukraine the other day. Ben Davies was superb. Maybe he went, wee, not going there. Daddy Davies, as he's called on the internet by some. That very strange but funny video from that pre-season tour. He was superb, though. If you missed it, honestly, wow, what a performance. And this isn't, people are now going to say, you're saying this because you think they shouldn't sign anyone and Ben Davies should play every week. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. They definitely need another left-footed centre-back to go in there as well. Of course they do. They need competition there. But Ben Davies played very, very well. And I do wonder whether he might end up with a new contract in the not-too-distant future as well, because I think he's only got 2 years left and probably playing the best football of his career right now, Ben Davies.